Hi, this is Recovery, or should I say Players Dude. I'm not sure if I should change my YouTube username or not. I want to make this video to shed light on an issue that is barely given any attention. This is mostly focused for open world and faction gameplay. So I have an issue with the machine gun of this game. When I say machine guns, I will be focusing on mounted machine guns specifically. While infantry machine guns do have their own issue as well, that's not what the video is going to be about. So basically, the machine gun in this game, maybe except the crow, just sucks. I'm talking about like the M240 Bravo, PKM, M2 Dushkas on like ground vehicles, helicopter machine guns, and maybe even those stationary machine guns at like compounds. What I'm saying is they are mostly kind of worthless, which is strange because generally machine guns are supposed to be the step above the humble service rifle used by your average private Joe. Now, machine guns should feel powerful. You can feel the firepower you're projecting onto your enemies. But in game, it doesn't feel that way. So mounted machine guns feels more like a gimmick. So let's start with the biggest issue with the machine guns in this game, which being accuracy. When I mean accuracy, I don't mean how much did the path of the projectile deviates from where the barrel is pointing. I meant how easy it is to get the rounds on target, the effective range of the weapon. Machine guns fall short on getting rounds on target compared to, say, a rifle. We could break this down into two elements, being recoil and how it fires on the move. I think the biggest reason why machine guns are not very preferred is because of the recoil. I understand the recoil is meant for like balancing reason, but it comes to a point that it feels unnecessary due to the machine gun itself is already being bring down by other factors. So, mounted machine guns aren't stabilized, meaning if the driver shifted the vehicle initial position to a different one, the gunner aim needs to be adjusted in order for the gun to be pointed toward the target. These factors significantly affected the machine gun's accuracy. The other issue is the lack of protection, or otherwise limited protection. Yes, you can get a gun shoot, which helps with reducing the amounts of bullet reaching your hitbox, but it still doesn't deny the fact you cannot move inside of your gunner position. If you need to reload, your choice is to either hope you don't get down too quickly or tell your driver to reverse back into a safer position. That is given the fact that he is listening to you. Thanks a lot, David. Infantry players obviously have more agency on how he wishes to respond under stress. If he gets shot, he simply backs down into the cover. Aside from physical protection, mounted machine gun platform also lost one form of a different type of protection, being visibility. Doesn't matter which type of machine guns you enter, it's always going to be in first person. Doesn't matter if it's an open top or a closed machine gun, whether it's vehicle mounted or stationary. You don't get this issue if you're assaulting a compound as an infantryman, since you can willingly switch between first person and third person view, so you're much less likely to miss out on important information on enemy location. Let's look at different machine gun types on different type of vehicles and see how they compare. So machine guns mounted on standard vehicle mounts. Basically your regular open top M2, M240s, PKM Dushkas. Handling wise, they are very similar. Sure, the medium machine guns have faster fire rate, while the heavy machine guns such as the M2s and the Dushkas are slower but higher damage. Both of them have pretty manageable recoil. Hey, so this is post-production recovery. The recoil on the ground-mounted machine gun is still pretty bad, and here's some footage of me trying to get that guy with a machine gun, and then doing the same with an M16A4. And you see how much easier using a rifle is compared to a machine gun. That's all. But for ground vehicles, this really isn't an issue, especially if you spend a little more cash for gun shield. All you have to do is keep your distance and spray some lead. But for aerial vehicles, on the other hand, man, it gets pretty frustrating. Because a helicopter moves around a lot, even if it's idle. And idling ground vehicles always remain stationary, meaning the gunner doesn't need to make minor adjustment to spray lead at the target. On top of this, a helicopter being idle in a firefight is not very ideal because the helicopter at the same effective range as a Humvee with a M240 or M2 are much more vulnerable to small arms fire. Not only the helicopter have less health points than ground vehicles, the gunner are much more exposed compared to the Humvee because they don't even have gun shields to protect them. Oh, sure, you can fly the helicopter farther away from the target or constantly moving across the target, but then your gunner effectiveness goes down the gutter because none of those rounds hit their intended target. So essentially, most, if not all, helicopters can't perform close air support roles as intended. A Black Hawk with two M240s hotel gunners add zero value to a firefight aside from maybe diverting Op 4's attention from ground assets. Now, I also forgot to add that half of these machine guns don't even have proper sights. Now, let's see how the Crow's platform are performing. And would you look at that? Not only you are buttoned up all nice and snug under the hatch, you also get better visibility as you can switch to thermal imaging and see through smoke. Not only that, variable magnification plus no recoil drastically increase your effective range compared to a regular open top machine gun. So basically, you only need to place your striker on top of a hill, hold down, and all the gunner have to do is to shoot at anything that moves. That little spread that you get on Gross means nothing since you have no recoil and it's a machine gun. The most you get is a camera shake. So enough whining. What can the dev do to fix this? Okay, so first of all, on behalf of helicopter gunners, I say we remove recoil for helicopter mounted machine guns and maybe even add a proper sight for them, an ear tech or a scope at least. Probably get rid of the PEG 15s on the M240. If it doesn't do anything, get rid of it. For vehicle mounted and stationary machine gun, I would like to introduce you to a concept well known in armored warfare. Should you leave your crew stay inside of a tank with hatch closed, which is the button up position, or hatch open, heads out. When the crew is buttoned up, the crew obviously is going to have better protection, but with better protection, they trade for worse visibility, demanding more cooperation with supporting infantry to keep their eyes peeled. In a heads out position, the crew situational awareness is going to be much better, but can be vulnerable to ambushes, shell fragments, or sniper fire. Clearly, one of the options is not going to be better than the other. There is a trade-off for both of these. You're bound to sacrifice something for something else that you may prefer. We can translate this into the game by allowing the gunner to use the third-person view for better visibility. If we're going to sacrifice protection, you might as well just give the gunner better visibility. Hell, why stop there? You can have more options. Maybe you can use a binocular to get a better view at a distance. Now the gunner could maybe double as a commander and gets to call out enemy position when needed. And when you think about this would be a great feature for faction, specifically factions. So basically, all I'm advocating is buffing traditional machine guns so it can be an equally valuable asset as the froze version of that same machine gun, if you get my words. So I hope the developers will consider my feedback and make improvement for this game to be a little more fun. Subscribe if you feel like it, and maybe I'll see you guys in 2 to 3 years later. Goodbye.